We have brought our own ray of sunshine with our next group, all the way from Oahu, Hawaii. We have our next presenters, our next presentation, representing the MAʻO Organic Farms. And they are going to share with us their project and what they're doing in Oahu. And it's been such a pleasure getting to know these young people and visiting with them. They're just like us. They're just Indians like us. Eh? It is an honor, though, to have them here. They came across a big water to be here with us. And what a great way to celebrate the living earth by acknowledging what's happening all over the United States. So we really appreciate them being here. Are you all ready? Okay, I'll turn it over. If you can hear my voice and you'd like to hear this presentation, please come and sit down, and we have plenty of room. If you got a few minutes, have a seat and listen to what these young people have to share. Thank you.
E holo ana ma ke kai o kana loa, mai ka ili kai a o malaia. Kupai ana ha ke one ne'u, I ka olu o ka malulu niu. Heniu kaulana a ka lani pokai, he ali'i hiva mai ka hiki mai. I ke maka I ka nani ka wahine hele mauna, o kaiona noho I ka poli o kua'ala. Kuala ka alaka o nohi o ka aina, he aina aloha o wai anai. Aloha ia no ai anai. Aloha kako o Alicia Nanea Kapuilani Kili ko inoa piha no ma ili maiau. So aloha to everyone. My name is Nanea. I'm from MAʻO Organic Farms, and what I did is called an oli, or a chant, and this chant is about my community and how I introduce myself and ourselves to this place.
Aloha mai kākou, o Kylie and Kalepili mai me ke aloha o Kylie Gasper ko o ino piha. O wa'anai MAʻO. My name is Kylie, and I am currently a high LT, which stands for Ho'owaiwai Youth Leadership Training.
Aloha mai kākou, o Joshua Kainoa Michiharu Fukumoto ko uinoa piha, no ma'ili MAʻO. Aloha, my name is Joshua Fukumoto. I'm from Ma'ili in Lualualei Valley. I'm a student at the University of Hawaii, and I am an apprentice farmer.
Aloha mai kako o Tori-Lyn Smith ko inoa piha no makaha MAʻO. Aloha, my name is Tori-Lyn. I live in the ahupua'a of or land division of Makaha in the Waianae Moku on the leeward side of Oahu. I am the youth empowerment specialist at MAʻO Organic Farms. And I just wanted to thank again, I wanted to mahalo the museum here and the Living Earth Festival for having us. This is our first time presenting here, and we're really honored to be presenting in a place that really values indigenous and honors indigenous culture. So mahalo for having us.
So again, thanks for listening to us today, and I'm going to get started. So we're MAʻO Organic Farms. We're a USDA certified organic farm, and we've been running for about 16 years now. MAʻO is an acronym which stands for Mala'i ʻopio, which translates into youth food garden. Down. So first, I'm going to be talking to you folks about the current state of Hawaii's agriculture and some background info. So the entirety of the Hawaiian island chain is called Kapai Aino o Hawai'i, and we consider ourselves the most isolated island chain because we're over 2,000 miles away from the nearest continent. And in pre-contact Hawaii, which refers to the era before Captain Cook arrived in Hawaii in 1776, we were completely sustainable, able to produce our own food, fiber, and fuel. But now this context of sustainability has been flipped as we now import about 85% of our food. So kuleana can translate into responsibility or stewardship. So in our ancestral history, we refer to aina, or land, as that which feeds. And it was our responsibility to steward and take care of our sibling. And what we consider the Ahupua'a system is a land division from the mountain to the ocean in a valley, which maximizes food production to sustain the health of our people. And so Lu'ulu'ule Valley is where MAʻO is located, and it was once one of these major Ahupua'a systems. The unique thing about Lu'ulu'ule Valley is that it is one of two birthplaces of Oahu, so it's a caldera, and it has a unique bowl shape. And because of this bowl shape, through erosion of organic matter and rocks, it formed its own unique soil called Lu'ulu'ule vertisoil. So the special properties of this soil is that when it's dry, it contracts and forms huge cracks in the soil, which allow organic matter to fall into the cracks. But when water is added to it, it actually expands and holds water for long periods of time. So another key aspect about Lu'ulu'ule Valley is one of our mountain peaks called Puhawai, which translates into bursting waters. So this mountain peak also created a stream, which is also known as Puhawai, and it provided millions of gallons of water to supply the Ahupua'a system that was there before. But now this stream and all of the water that was in it was diverted to the Lu'ulu'ule Naval Magazine. So now you only see the stream bed remnants seen on the farm and on top of the farm in the fields. So after colonization, we've seen some negative effects, especially geared toward Native Hawaiians. So we've seen a loss in our prime ag land as development has polluted and leaked chemicals into the soil. We've seen a loss to our to aipono, which we call our ancestral diet. We've seen an increase in imported and processed foods, which have led to many unhealthy lifestyles like obesity and diabetes. We've seen an increase in GMO ag crops and use of pesticides, herbicides, increased poverty, increased health disparities, and decreased education attainment. The indigenous students in our communities are not well served in the Western education system because of the fact that they are not served well the practices and knowledge they need for their own cultures. So this video I'm about to show you folks talks about the Hawaiian community and summarizes some of the points talked about before.
You asked, we listened, and now it is back. KITV4 is telling the stories of your communities in our ever-popular segment, Where You Live. And today we're heading out toward the end of the road. You'll find a handful of unique towns along Oahu's leeward coast, but a very special one caught the eye of KITV4's Brenton Awa. Here's Wai'anae. It's Where You Live.
Hidden away from the busy city, hailed as the birthplace of Oahu, is Waianae.
Aloha i o Waianae, he malui ka ulu.
Many describe it in many different ways, through oli or chant, mo'olelo or myth, mele like this. But to understand Waianae today, you must first know its past. This is a place once defined by the balance between its people and the land. These terraces represent only a glimpse into the amount of kalo that once spread throughout this valley, and that the sea, Poka'i Bay, provided the rest, a truly self-sustaining ahupua'a.
What they did was to apply that thinking of how to make this environment take care of us, how do we take care of that environment. And so that is how I think the culture evolved.
But all of that changed when the land was stripped of its life-giving source. The sugar plantations arrived. Water was diverted from these fields to feed development. The balance was disrupted. Waianae was reshaped. In many ways remains so to this day.
There was a vacuum and a void. It's like when you no longer have the will to survive. And then it's replaced, then you end up with alcoholism, you end up with domestic violence and abuse. The whole story repeats itself.
Most everybody in our community depend on EBT, food stamps.
Which leads to the Waianae we often hear about, challenged by drugs, crime, and poverty.
You see a lot of homeless people. Well, that's a sign that the community understands the disconnection people have with their families.
But behind these images lies a movement, one that's gaining momentum with the younger generation. For them, it seems to come so naturally.
It's in our blood, it's in our history, it's in everything behind me, in front of me, above and below me. I am this Aina.
Hawaiians are storytellers. They're also cultivators. MAʻO Farms doing more than just growing food here. It's weeding out barriers and cultivating future leaders, putting responsibility back in their hands. Just look around. Entire farms run by interns. In exchange for their year-round hard work, the program pays for these students to go to college, a benefit that can be life-changing.
If it wasn't for MAʻO, I wouldn't be having my AA degree, my liberals, and I wouldn't be working on my bachelor's.
Waianae, I feel the ocean breeze calling. Waianae.
Which brings us back to where we started, deep in Waianae Valley at Ka'ala Farm. Remember, these lo'i sit where the water was once removed. With a lot of perseverance, some has been recovered. The goal now is getting people back on the land to farm food and support families in the process.
All you need is one good person who cares about that child, So that's important. So we're just trying to change that paradigm.
There's still work to be done in restoring the balance, but the signs are there. It's tipping back in the right direction, resting in the hands of its people, restoring the land, and resounding in the stories yet to be told.
In
Waianae, Brenton Awa, KITV4 News.
What a refreshing look at a beautiful place. Love that story. According to the U.S. Census, 60% of Waianae's population is Native Hawaiian. That's the second highest concentration of Hawaiians in any Oahu community. Nanakuli is the first. In fact, the top 5 communities are all along the Waianae coast.
And if this story left you wanting just a little bit more, be sure to tune into our morning show tomorrow. A little bit more on Waianae.
So that was a video about our community, and so I want to go talk to you folks about our regional and population health disparities. As you can see right here is our graph showing our Waianae communities. So you folks can see a correlation between the high concentration of Native Hawaiians and the correlation between the high amounts of the cancer death rate. We see obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure. The next graph I want to show you folks is the socioeconomic and education disparity. So again, in Waianae, you see a correlation between the amount of Native Hawaiians, the amount of unemployment, poverty poverty below 200% and how much food stamps are being used. So we came here to show you folks why MAʻO is created. So MAʻO is created to address this lack of food sovereignty. So we use the students that come through our program to help increase availability of fresh fruits and vegetables in our communities. And we also try to address the education attainment in our communities because there's a lack of college prep in our high schools. And they'll be talking about the college dropout or high school dropout and completion rate later, but so the Waianae Community Redevelopment Corporation, which was put together by our community members, is a federally recognized nonprofit organization. And through this organization, our founders, Gary and Kukui Mauna Kea IV, created MAʻO in 2002. And MAʻO, we consider ourselves to be a social enterprise, but I'll get into that in the next slide. And some ways we have expanded in the last 10 years is that we increased from 5 acres to 23 acres, and now another 21 acres in 2018. So we now have 44 land acres secured, as shown. In 2008, we had 6 full-time staff and 24 part-time interns. We now have 15 full-time staff and about 50 part-time interns. So we've seen an increase in everything that we've done. So in explaining why we call ourselves a social enterprise, so we refer to ourselves as an enterprise because the revenue that we generate comes from our product sales, but we're an enterprise with a social mission, which is to empower young people through the programs that we have, which are funded through grants, to empower the community as a whole. Our future goal as MAʻO is to eventually decrease our dependency on these grants and fund everything through our own revenue.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about our educational programs. As you can see here, there are many different silos that are all working independently to achieve their own goal. We have students students wondering what to do with their lives, high schools trying to get students into college, colleges trying to recruit from Native Hawaiian students. We also have our funders and government looking to invest and support in community-based programs. And lastly, social enterprises like MAʻO seeking quality local labor. What MAʻO is trying to do is align all these different silos into a pathway by combining the schools, colleges, and the ag sector. By partnering with the public schools in our community, we seek to engage students. By teaming up with the colleges, we strive to get more students graduated with their degrees of choice. And ultimately, we hope to transform the ag sector, which is dominated by imports and GMOs. This is all connected through what we call an Auwal, which is a man-made stream, which is a metaphor for a pathway. This chart is going to talk is about the educational statistics. First of all, I want to start off with the average age of a person in Waianae, which is 29 compared to 36 statewide. As a particularly young community, there is a lot of focus on educational attainment and unattainment, like the high school dropout rate of Waianae, which is 33% compared to 15% statewide, which means that only 78% of Waianae's youth graduate with a high school diploma or GED compared to 85% statewide. The percentage of youth 16 to 19 who do not attend school or work in my community are 19% compared to 9% statewide, and only 9% of Waianae's community have earned a bachelor's degree.
So next I'm going to talk about what programs we offer at MAʻO. So the first program that I'm going to talk about is our Farm to Fork program that we have. And so for this program, we try to engage the community as a whole. So this program is offered for keiki, which are children, two kupuna, which are elders. We roughly have about, now the program has expanded, so now we actually have about 1,200 visitors per year, but the purpose of this program is to really, as you heard earlier, there's a lot of health disparities in our community, so it's really re-engaging the community into eating healthy and getting them to try the vegetables. So they have an opportunity to visit, they have an opportunity to work on the farm in the aina, get their hands dirty, reconnect to the land, and then reconnect to their diet. So we'll usually have a food demo or some kind of food preparation activity where they will learn how to incorporate some of the vegetables that we have into their diets. The second way that we engage in our community is through our fall and spring break internships, and these are really targeted for high school students. So during their fall break or their spring break, they'll come to the farm and they'll do a 1-week internship where they work on the farm. And then we'll also kind of introduce them to college in general and show them that it's a viable pathway. And so we do run our own curriculum. We do a social and emotional curriculum as well as a mindset curriculum to kind of get them prepared and thinking about it. We also do a huaka'i or a field trip to the colleges in our community so that they can go into the classrooms, they can see what it's like, they can meet with faculty or teachers. So really just trying to get them engaged and thinking about college. And then the YLT. So all of these interns here that I'm with today have gone through the YLT or Youth Leadership Training Program. And this is our flagship program. This is our, because these interns actually run the daily operations of the farm. So as you heard in the video, those interns, they come to the farm, they work on the farm about 3 days a week, 16 hours roughly, and we pay for their college. We provide tuition scholarships as well as monthly stipends. So this program roughly runs about 2 years for them to complete their AA. So ramping up, as we heard also in the video and through Nanea's presentation, education attainment is a struggle for the youth in our community, and so we don't want to just throw them into college unprepared, so we do a ramp up. And so right now, actually, we're running summer ramp up while we're here presenting, but it's about a 10-week program. It spans from when they graduate from high school until their first semester starts, so we have about 10 weeks to try to ramp them up and get them ready. So we introduce them to the work again, so they'll start the schedule, the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then during Tuesday, Thursday, we actually have them in a classroom, and we do run our own curriculum again and try to teach them some of the soft skills that we think are necessary for them to be able to navigate college. And then lastly, just the overall balance, which is lokahi in Hawaiian. How do we help them feel that balance as best as possible before they jump into it? So the internship itself, these photos, the top photo is check-in circle, and the bottom photo is check-out circle. So we're really unique in that we constantly want reflective spaces. So check-in circle is where we get together and we kind of ground ourselves before we start the work for the day. And check-out circles, so all of the groups will go out individually, and then at the end of the workday, which is about a 5-hour workday for them, they come together in check-out circle and talk about what they did. They talk about what went well, what didn't go well. They get to reflect so that they can make improvements, right? Because we're constantly learning. And then, as you'll see, there's something called a step-up internship or a SUI internship. So once interns are a part of once they become a part of the YLT, they have an opportunity to take up leadership in other forms. So we have the Step Up internship where they can actually apply to manage a group of their peers. And so the groups that go out are managed by an elder intern or a SUI intern. So they're kind of managing themselves. And then we also have a YLT, which Kylie is a part of now. It's our Ho'ovaivai YLT. And this is for students who have matriculated through the YLT and are now seeking to achieve a bachelor's degree. So for Kylie, she's going to be going into early education, a bachelor's degree at the University of Hawaii, West Oahu. And so the YLT gives them kind of a bridge to a 4-year university where they also will be able to take on projects of their own, start to take initiative. They have more kuleana or responsibility at the farm. And then the last thing, we partner with different community members to have externships. So there's other programs out there that we will extern interns with. And then the last thing that I'm going to talk about is, oh no, it's not the last thing I'm going to talk about. So the SCFS program, so one of our community partners is the University of Hawaii West Oahu, which I mentioned. And so MAʻO helped to co-design the Sustainable Community Food Systems degree, which is a fairly new degree at that college. And so this program looks at agriculture through more of a holistic approach, and also is based in indigenous thinking. So for our YLT, so to be a part of our YLT, you don't necessarily have to be in agriculture. As you see, we have education here also. No matter what you want to pursue, as long as you want to go to college in our community, you are able to join the program. But for those interns who are interested in agriculture, we saw this as a viable pathway for them to matriculate into a bachelor's degree. So MAʻO helped to kind of co-create this degree. And it's also located on the leeward side of the island. So for our students, it's a lot closer. We live in a rural community, so yeah, this is that degree. And then the last thing, Kylie talked about the Auwal and how we're trying to create a pathway. This is kind of our Auwal education pathway within our program. So as you'll see, farm to fork, we try to engage keiki at a younger age. We have the high school internships, which then lead to a ramp up, hopefully, where we'll retain them for a ramp up, and they'll matriculate into the youth leadership training internship, which runs about 2 years if they stay with us, where they also have the opportunity for the step up internship and gaining other leadership skills, which then can bridge into a YLT if they're interested in pursuing a bachelor's degree. And so for a lot of, most of our interns, they're very diverse in what they want to pursue. Some go into a bachelor's degree and some don't, but ultimately we feel that this Auwal or pathway helps prepare them to be able to solidify careers, living wages, because it's very expensive to live in Hawaii at this point. So we need our youth to be able to earn living wages so that they can stay in their communities. And then also for interns who are interested in agriculture and pursuing that, we do offer farm apprenticeships, which is what Josh and Nanea are a part of now. So just a bunch of different pathways. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to talk about enterprise engagement, or the business side of MAʻO, and the work that we do at the farm. So starting with our partnerships with local businesses, we team up with 31 businesses with some mix of restaurants and stores, and we call them our co-producers because we team up with organizations that have similar goals in mind as us, and it's more locally oriented, sourcing food locally and trying to decrease the amount of imports, and also looking into organic products. In our immediate community of Waianae, we supply 2 grocery stores and a restaurant. And then we can produce 1.5 tons of food per week. And in 2016, we made about $500,000 in sales. We're also at 2 local farmers markets, one in Waianae and one in town. And we see it as it's affordable, as opposed to grocery stores have to sell our products at a markup. At the farmers market, people can buy our produce, interact with us immediately. Our farmers market also has what's called a double bucks program, where a local health center, they provide, it's like half of Hawaiian is on EBT. So through this double bucks program, they're doubling people's spending power with EBT. So they're pretty much paying half the price for our produce, which is a really valuable asset for our community. And like I said, it's a chance for us to build relationships with the community. For a lot of the YLT, this is their first job, and this is the leadership part of the YLT. People get to learn valuable skills, selling produce, talking about what they're growing, and it shows entrepreneurship. And it's also for the community. Hawaii is an agricultural state. It's always been. And for the average age of a farmer today is 60 years old. So it's really inspiring for the kupuna, the older generation, to see a bunch of young farmers out doing this kind of work. And it reaffirms the work that we're doing, because it can be hard. We wake up at 5 in the morning. In the winter, it's dark up until 7. And it's hard work, but it's nice to know that it's appreciated, because the kupuna kind of see that there's a future in agriculture in Hawaii. And then we also run a CSA program, which stands for Community Supported Agriculture. Members of our community can purchase what's called a farm share, and in return they share in our harvest, which it'll be seasonal, but they'll receive a box of produce that'll generally include salads, maybe cooking greens, roots, and fruits. And it's the freshest produce that they can receive. We harvest, package, and deliver it all in the same day. And the revenues from the farm work goes back to paying the farmers, who are our oldest farmer is 28 years old. And it also goes to supporting the YLT. And some quick outcomes, like I said, we can produce 1.5 tons of food per week. We're highly diversified, and in the peak season, which is winter, we can grow up to 40 different kinds of crops. We've been open for 16 years. We've been certified organic for 14. So we've graduated 110 YLT with their associate's degree, which this is 41% of everybody who enters the YLT, which we're trying to improve that. And it may not sound great, but compared to the graduation rate at our local community college, which is 15%, we feel like the program is beneficial for the YLT. And then I'm just going to close on, this is a painting by Solomon Enos, who was actually the first intern at MAʻO. And it depicts the union of Papa, Earth Mother, and Wakea, Sky Father. And it's just, it kind of symbolizes the balance that we have to maintain with the natural world. Mahalo.
So we just want to thank everybody here today. So we'll be doing an oli or a chant to end off. Uhola ia ka makaloala, kuai ke alohala, kuka ia ka haloala, Hawaii mai na lehua, mai ko ho'oku ia ka halawa ela. Mahalo e na akua, mahalo e na kupuna la ea, mahalo me ke alohala, mahalo me ke alohala, mahalo. Thank you.
Any questions? Sorry, we have to ask if there's any questions. They're putting you on the spot.
Sorry, and I just got here, so. I'm curious about your CSA. how many people are in it, and is it pretty stable? Do people come and go? And
So we've got 130 members, and that's down from when we started before, and that usually has to do with our drop-off locations and where we can go and distribute the vegetables from. But there's a stable clientele, a lot of people who have been with us for over a decade now, and sometimes people they have to stop for whatever reason, monetary or whatever. But I feel like we do have a steady group.
just as a short follow-up, could you describe a typical box, and is it fruits as well as vegetables?
Yeah. So a few things. It's totally seasonal, so it depends on what we're growing at the time of year, and sometimes it might be what we're abundant in. But it will typically include some salads, some cooking greens, roots, and fruits. Oh, and then if you're interested too, it's $30 per box, and we don't sell here, only on Oahu.
We're all moving to Oahu now, right? So, do you have a question? How about you guys? No questions?
All right, let's close it.
Well, you guys did a great job. We have no questions. So thank you so much. I love the chanting. So it's so interesting to see all this good food sovereignty happening throughout our country. So thank you all the way from Oahu. They do have a table set up where they have, you can talk to them a little bit more if they have any if you have any questions, specific questions.